Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. There was a big Ramadan prayer thing going on in Times Square. This is Muslims praying in the street, chanting, and, it's one of those things that if you just blatantly come out and say, no, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening. Obviously, if you're a little older, you remember 9/11, and you could not possibly imagine, as far as you could look down Times Square, praying Muslims on their prayer rugs, and the sound of Islamic prayer echoing through the canyon of buildings that is Times Square. So it was alarming. And you can't tell people that they have no reason to feel like that you're a bigot, that's terrible. You just can't do it. There's precedent, there's hindsight, there's memories that make people uneasy about it. And that is if it was just merely prayer going on. But it wasn't. It wasn't. One of the head muckety-mucks there got up and started talking about Muslims in New York and how people have this fear that they are taking over. And he pretty much validates their fear by saying they are taking over. Listen to this guy, AC7.
Giving down. Yo, make some noise from the border right now, baby. MashaAllah, yeah. Takbir! Oh, don't scare them, brothers. Relax. They're over here on purpose to be like, oh my God. Who's seen those videos where they're like, oh my God, the Muslims are taking over New York? So you seen those? You seen those? Let them know that we are taking over New York City. Takbir! Oh my God.
Let them know that we are taking over New York. And then, this sounds like something out of a horror movie. I got to be honest. To you. This sounds like something out of a horror movie. Yelling Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And what do we got? They're afraid. They say that we're taking over New York. Well, we are taking over New York. And then, oh no, it's frightening. It sounds frightening, doesn't it? And don't be bamboozled into thinking this is just peaceful prayer. People want to pray. They have a big thing in Times Square. This has a motive to it, and it is intimidation, fear-mongering, trying to get people to say things that they would deem Islamophobic, and then using that against people. This is one of their tools in the toolbox of taking over. And if you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. You're a little naive. And Bobby here in Westchester. Bobby in Westchester, what's up, man? Hello?
Oh,
Bobby?
hi. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, what's up?
Well, listen, it's the 1965 Immigration Act kicked in. You use this as material for your show. You don't care about it. You're just joking and laughing. The invasion has been 50 years. No one did anything. And now you're sitting here. You could talk about the view and everything. Hey, listen, Rosie, you look cute in a burqa. There's a lot of people in your audience listening. Your grandchildren are going to be wearing burqas. It's over. You got to be kidding. You got to be.
Why wouldn't you think? Why wouldn't you think I care about it, Bobby? I care about it. I do a show and I touch on a lot of topics, and I have to make things interesting, compelling, and then make them natural coming out of me and my personality when I talk about it. But why would you think that adds up to I don't care?
Well, you're a Johnny-come-lately. The 65 immigration, they all came in here the last 50, 60 years.
Johnny-come-lately? You don't think I've been talking about this for almost my entire life? This problem with Islam coming into this country, not assimilating, directly opposing what we stand for and what we do. How do you know? How do you know what I've been talking about for my entire life?
Well, you've been with ABC for almost a year now. You never talk about the 65 Immigration Act. That's it.
I have talked about that. Of course I have. I've talked about that. Lyndon Johnson, I could roll it up and stick it where the sun don't shine. If you ask me.
But that was 65 years ago. Why ain't they doing it to repeal
I was
it now?
4.
They got to repeal it.
I was 4 years old, Bobby. You had to give me a couple of years to get up to speed at least.
I'm not talking about your age in 1965. I'm talking about the 65 years that have passed by. You never called for getting
I needed a couple of years to catch up. I wasn't very political in elementary school, and we didn't have a lot of Islamic children on Long Island at my schools. So it took a little while for me to get interested in what's going on. High school, it was all about girls, Bobby. Girls and cars. I didn't really care about the 1965 Civil Rights or Immigration Act. And then in my 20s and into my 30s, I started looking around and going, oh boy. And I said to myself, I wish I would have learned sooner and done something when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old so that Bobby in Westchester wouldn't be angry with me.
Well, I'm not talking about your high school days. I'm talking about now. And plus, you ever see the visas they give out, the tourist visas? And you've been to the airports. I see people coming in the airports. They're up with tourist visas. Who goes on vacation with all their worldly possessions? You know why they do that? Because they ain't leaving. That's why. And this thing with Nancy Guthrie where they show the border, people, I've always said the border's not closed. You can drive in and out of that border anytime you want. You can bring anybody into this country. They're just lying.
You think the Mexicans took her?
What?
You think the Mexicans took Nancy Guthrie?
I think it's a good possibility, but they cross the border. They live on both sides of the border, if you understand it. And the thing is, let's face it, they were in that house for 40 minutes. They thought there was big cash in that house, and they ripped it apart. People don't realize they'll beat the hell out of an old lady. That's what they probably did. They hit her, they smacked around for the cash, and then they took her out of the building. Listen, the modern technology, they're not telling us everything. They have more video. They have satellite photos. The cars can be traced with all the computers. You're worried about being traced. Your car is being traced with the computer systems. They can trace it right back to where it was manufactured. And listen, they come in and out of the board. It's all a lie. Man, Danny, 85% of the people who voted for him were foreigners, Muslims, communists all voted for him. They tried to say the college kids were doing it, right? They said the college kids were voting for him. That was all BS, a lie. They want this country invaded. Saudi Arabia pours billions of dollars into America. So does Qatar. So does China to change this country. Nobody ever brings it up. Nobody.
You know, Bobby.
That's why they ban.
But I agree with you. It's amazing how confrontational you can be with me when I completely agree with everything you're saying.
I understand you say that, but you got to do a show. You got to be.
Well, I do a show.
Who
But
cares
I'm not
what Rosie
doing
said?
the Muslims are taking over America show. I talk about it a lot. I talk about it here. I talk about it on my internet show. But, you know, I have to hit on other things. And I was just talking about it when I took your call. I had just mentioned the whole thing with Times Square. So you are really, really a confrontational guy, Bobby. But I like you. I like you, Bobby. I got to move on, though. Holy Jesus, that guy's hilarious. What's wrong with you? Why don't you do that? But no, I agree. I was talking about, I don't like the idea that they're praying in huge numbers in Times Square, because it's not just prayer. It's intimidation. They're trying to scare people. They're trying to make people say things that get them in trouble. And Bobby's like, 65. Oh, I wish I could have been 4 years old and voted. Gee, Mr. LBJ, I'm going to vote against this. I don't like it at all. Hilarious. I like that guy. He's full of vim and vigor.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.